What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. In this one, we're looking at FPL Gameweek 33 Team Selection. Going to go through how I'm doing so far in Gameweek 32, but also, more importantly, looking ahead to Gameweek 33, which is a blank that we know about. But also, there could be some more blanks and doubles. I've got some doubts in my teams. I'm going to talk about potential transfers, how the team's looking. Definitely going to do some tinkering on the transfer planner as well today, because I think it's hugely important, especially when I've got the free hit in the back of my mind. So loads to go through. Please do give it a like if you enjoy it and hit that subscribe button if you are new around here. And let's quickly talk about OneFootball. So once again, OneFootball back sponsoring the team selection videos. If you haven't already tried it out, make sure you do. It's a completely free app. Link in the description below. That will take you straight through to the Android iOS store. I know it's not strictly FPL, but there's been a lot of talk obviously about the Super League, and OneFootball not only covers the Premier League but also news all around the world. Obviously you get lineups, team news and all that good stuff, plus goal alerts. And I've just seen there UEFA already considering making alterations to the new Champions League format because of the European Super League. So that might focus there. So loads of football news on there, both Premier League and all around the world. So make sure you check it out. Link in the description below. Go and get it right now. It's completely free. Okay, so this is Game Week 32 so far. Loads of asterisks on the left because the Game Week hasn't finished at the time recording and by the time this video goes out, right? So the rank could change. Obviously, hopefully the points will definitely go up. The overall points will go up, but the rank could go up or down. So I'm on 69 at the moment with a 4-point hit. Now, that's actually enough for a green arrow, but I've checked my live rank on livefpl.net and it's 3259. I think it's 3072 on the main FPL page, but when auto subs and stuff like that are taken into account, it's only 3259. It's a very small green arrow, but given that I took another 4-point hit, I'm quite happy about that so far. Plus, I think, of course, there's some people that own Leicester defence. Hardly anyone will own West Brom players, so I'm not too worried about that. The big one is Iheanacho, who I own anyway, and any points he gets will give me a further green arrow. And Jamie Vardy is obviously a big differential. So to have 9 players and be on a green arrow, I'm pretty happy. Alonso and Rudiger, that was key that they came in. Not only that, because I have Dawson on the bench. So Rafinha is my first sub, but he didn't play. So anybody that misses out, Dawson would have come in. So because of the long drawn out game week, I've been panicking every single day before the team sheets. But Alonso and Rudiger playing was fantastic. They both got a clean sheet as well, which was great. Trent obviously didn't get the clean sheet, but he got the assist and got some bonus points as well. So to finish on 8 points with no clean sheet, that is classic Trent. And I am so glad that I own him. And Dawson, hopefully, won't come on. Obviously, I know some of you will see this after you know the Leicester lineup, but I've seen a leak this morning that Vardy and Iheanacho are starting again, plus Maddison as well, by the way. So hopefully I'll be okay. But Dawson's -3. I mean, he has been such a bad buy for me. He's literally, I think he's got like +1 point or something like that since Game Week 29, if you count up all his scores. So not good at all. He's also now banned for Game Week 33, of course. We'll talk about that in a minute. Just quickly going on to Kane, obviously he's picked up a knock. We don't know if he's going to be fit. 24 points for captaincy was nice. Him and Son ended up getting the same. Obviously Son took the penalty because Kane wasn't on the pitch. Frustrating that Salah didn't start, but I'm hoping that's his last kind of non-start now for the rest of the season. Jota didn't get anything again, but again, he had a few chances, and Lingard obviously took the penalty, which is very jammy because Noble had just gone off the pitch. But it is what it is. I take it. Dan Burn did start, but he's rooted to my bench. So that's the team. Vardy and Nacho to go. A very small green arrow, which I'm kind of happy with, to be honest, given the week the way it went. And let's hope it gets even more tonight. And if Jamie Vardy can get double digits, that would be amazing. So this is the team for Game Week 33. I'm just going to do it as a whole because I want to talk about potential transfers, and the tinkering is going to be really important in this video, I think. So we'll just go through this quickly. Obviously, Martinez in goal, I'm hoping for some points. He's done all right. I know he only got 1 point against City, but he's done all right since people sold him. I think he got 4 points in a row, twice in a row before that 1 pointer last night. And West Brom, obviously, is still a pretty good fixture. Right? I know they're doing okay, but hopefully Aston Villa can hold on there. Although, again, they're still going to be without Grealish, which is just a big miss overall. But obviously, I'm keeping at this point. There's no point in me using a transfer. I do have some issues, though. Right? I've only got 1 transfer. I've got no Man United players before they play Leeds, which is a decent enough fixture. I've got Kane and Son. Kane may or may not be injured. We might not get good news about him. We might not get concrete news, and therefore, do I sell him? Do I not? Again, I'll talk about potential transfers in a second. Rafinha's got a knock. Will he play? we'll have to wait and see. He wasn't even on the bench last week, which is a little bit worrying. I know it's not the greatest fixture, but ideally I want to get 11 out because I don't think... Look, not having 11 players isn't the end of the world, but I think most people are going to have 11 because, you know, maybe they got Veltman on their bench or whoever it might be. They've got a plan to sell Kane or Son. They've just wildcarded, so they've got a good squad anyway. I don't think many people are going to go into this without 11 players. Obviously, players could miss out. Like I've got Jota, for example. Will he start? Not necessarily. I've got Alonso. Will he start? I don't think he will. I think Alonso misses this one and probably plays against Fulham in game week 34, and then after that, who the hell knows, right? And I knew he was going to be a problem when I brought him in. He's continued to be a problem. Although I think he actually by blocking Dawson's points, I think the hit actually probably worked out in the end, but we won't go into that in too much detail. Lingard obviously went off. I think he's going to be fine. I follow ex-West Ham employee on Twitter, and he said he should be fine, but let's wait and see what Moy says. And Davern, he started the last game against Chelsea, so he's given me some encouragement, but obviously he is not guaranteed to start the next game either because he has kind of been out of favour since he got injured. So I think Vardy, Iheanacho, Salah, Rudiger, maybe even he could be benched. You never know. Although they are fighting for top 4, so I'd hope not. And obviously they have got a few injuries there. Trent and Martinez. So I've got 6 players that I think are fine. And then I've got Jota. Who knows if he'll start any given week. Hopefully he will, by the way, but there's no guarantee. Lingard, Rafinha potentially with Knox, and Alonso and Burn, who knows if they're going to start. So I need to make some transfers this week. In the back of my head, I think I want to keep Kane or Son because Son definitely, because they got Sheffield United in game week 34, which is great. There's also not a 100% guarantee there will be a double in game week 35. So in the back of my mind, I am thinking about the fact there could be a double, but also with a backup plan that if there isn't, then I want Kane and Son against Leeds. Now, if Ryan Mason rules Kane out for a long time, then maybe I'll have to think about selling him. But the plan was always to bench him this week anyway, so maybe I don't need to kind of rush him out. Plus, anyone I see talking about selling Kane, they're all looking to get Jamie Vardy, and I've already got him, right? So I feel okay with my front line. And obviously, players like Lingard, I kind of want to keep because the fixtures are good. Rafinha, there's not too many players with... not too many decent players around his price, so I'd have to raise some money. I think the key player for me to get rid of is Alonso because I can't be sure when he's going to play. Like the fact that he came off and they brought Hudson-Odoi on and they moved Reece James to the left, it was not really a glowing representation of what maybe Tuchel thinks about Alonso right now. But obviously he did want to give Chilwell a full rest. So I think Alonso's the key player to sell. But I do want to go through some potential transfers because there's a lot on my mind and there's a lot of players that I'm thinking about. So as you can see, there's a lot going through my mind about what I might be able to do or want to do this week. And obviously, again, the unfortunate thing about recording this before all the press conferences, I don't know exactly who is fit. But like I said, I'm hoping Lingard is. Now, one of the things I didn't mention when I talked about my whole team just a second ago was that if the game weeks go how Ben thinks, which is where he thinks the Premier League or FPL will move the deadlines and the Premier League will obviously try and get fans in. Therefore, he thinks the 35 will be a double and 36 will have a blank. And if it does happen the way he thinks, then it'll be Chelsea, Arsenal, Leicester and Man United that may blank in 36. That is not guaranteed. I should stress that, right? Don't make plans or don't change your plans based on that definitely happening because it might not. But I think for me, I can probably just make the transfer anyway and it's not really going to hurt me even if it doesn't happen like that. If it does, I've got no Man United players and no Arsenal, but I have 2 from Chelsea, Rudiger and Alonso. And Rudiger's so cheap, and I'm hoping that he'll keep starting because of the top 4 that I could just bench him. I don't really want to get rid of him for the next few fixtures. Alonso obviously is an issue because I don't know if he's going to play week in, week out. And then for Leicester, I've got Iheanacho and Vardy, but they provide me a bit more of a problem because they've got really good fixtures as I'll come on to in the live FPL planner. So I'm not really looking at getting rid of any players from those 4 teams or the 2 teams where I've got players from other than Alonso. Now, the key move for me is probably Alonso to Cody. This could be Sice, right? I'm not even 100% sure which Wolves defender, but every time I check, Cody is having more shots in the box than Sice, although I do think the quality of shot and kind of the threat from Sice is probably a little bit higher, but Cody's absolutely nailed on. So that's the only reason I'll probably stick with going for Cody. And the fixtures are Burnley at home, West Brom away, and Brighton at home. Not ideal that he plays Spurs in game week 36, and then it's Everton in 37. So if I had to play him in 36, okay, Tottenham away is not great, but I think the advantages of having him for Burnley, West Brom and Brighton at home are pretty decent. So Alonso to Cody is probably my favourite move if everybody else is fit, right? Because there is a possibility that I keep Alonso and just hope that he starts, even though I don't think it's very likely. If Lingard was to be injured, then I would potentially look to get rid of him. Now, again, who I could go for, there's a lot of cheap options. If I go Alonso to Cody to fund a hit for Lingard out, right, and I know I'm taking a lot of hits at the moment, but if Lingard's injured, then it kind of forces my hand because I've got no bench this week. I could go for Greenwood and Maddison, but the eagle-eyed viewers will know that means I'm bringing in a player that could blank in 36. So I've got to think carefully about that. But Maddison's fixtures are obviously great, a bit like Iheanacho and Vardy's, of course. And Greenwood plays Leeds, and obviously he's taking so many shots in the box at the moment. He does look good when he gets minutes. So that's a potential transfer, although I do think Lingard will be fine. If I do the hit for Rafinha instead, if Rafinha is not fit, I could take him out. I don't really want to do this because at the end of the season his fixtures are good and he is so cheap. I don't really want to spend a transfer on him. But if he was ruled out, it could force my hand again. So if I wanted to do the hit, again, where I bring Cody in, then it could be Traore from Villa. And Villa's fixtures are, I'm just going to pull them up here. So they would play West Brom obviously in 33. I think Everton away in 34 is good. And in Gameweek 36, where I'd want them to play as well, they play Crystal Palace away. So those fixtures are really good. And if I'm free hitting in 35 for the double, then I don't need to worry about that fixture where it's Man United. I can just free hit them out. Or it's Saka for Arsenal. Now, Arsenal's fixtures are even better. I'm just going to pull them up here to remind myself. So, Everton at home this week, which I think is good. Newcastle away, West Brom at home in 35, although, again, doesn't necessarily matter if I'm free hitting that week. Chelsea away in 36 isn't ideal, but then they end the season with Palace and Brighton. The only worry with Saka is rotation, right, around the Europa League. So I think it will happen. Or I keep Alonso and I just do Rafinha to Saka and just roll with that, right? That's another option. I think Bertrand Traore is a bit more expensive where I can't afford him. Yeah, he's 5.8. I need to take Alonso out to a Cody to be able to afford that. So that's the kind of transfers I'm looking at. Keep in mind that this is team selection for my team, right? And I have the free hit available. For those of you that don't, if there is a double in 35 and a blank in 36, that might change your mind on which players to bring in, right? Because you don't necessarily want to be lumbered with players after the double that you can't get rid of that are going to blank. I don't have those concerns. I'm not worried about Game Week 35 because that is likely the time when I'll free hit because I don't think I'll be too hurt on Game Week 36. But let's look at the live FPL planner and tinker, and I'll show you kind of exactly what I mean. Okay, so now we start the tinkering, and as always, I'm hoping that you can follow my thought process. Keep in mind that I do have the free hit. So that's in the back of my mind when I'm making these transfers, because in Game Week 35, if I use that, then I can't roll a transfer. So Game Week 33 and 34 transfers in particular are quite important because not only do I want them to do well right now, but I also want them to do well for me in that potential blank in Game Week 36. So this is the team as it stands. Now, one move that people will be considering, and I am considering too, is just to do Son to Rashford and then back again in Game Week 34 because Man United play Leeds in 33, but Liverpool in 34, whereas Spurs blank, but then they play Sheffield United. And I really want Son and Kane for Sheffield United at home. It's one of the best fixtures you can get right now. So that is playing on my mind. The thing is, if I do that, then I've got no transfers before 35, and I'm not making any kind of plans for Game Week 36 because obviously I'll use my transfer in 33 and 34 to reverse the Son move. 35 I'll free hit, and then 36. Basically, I will still be left with this team in Game Week 36. It will have, because I would have reversed the transfer because I already own Son, then I'll have this team. So I'll show you that in a second. But obviously, if I did that, then Rashford would just come in for probably Rudiger or Davern, and then obviously they would go first bench. And if Alonso missed out, it wouldn't be so bad because then they would come off the bench. So maybe that's a move that I could do. And then in Game Week 34, when I reverse it, this would be the team. Obviously, the Spurs boys come back in. Jota might even get benched, to be honest. And I'd still have Alonso, who I think could start against Fulham. So it's not the worst thing. The problem is, if I do that, I go into Game Week 36 with this team. Alonso, Rudiger could be blanking. So could Iheanacho and Vardy. And yes, obviously, I've got players that I can bring in. Dawson could come in for Alonso. But I'm playing 4-5-1 and Rudiger's not playing. So I've got to make a transfer then. And to be honest, the Leicester boys don't have the greatest fixtures after that anyway. So if they do blank, it's then Chelsea and Spurs. So I don't necessarily want them for that anyway. So they probably would have to go, in which case I could take Vardy out. So that is an option. I could just reverse it and just be stuck with Alonso a little bit longer. But I think it's just delaying the inevitable that I need to get rid of him. And as always, if you think I'm missing something with my transfers, please do let me know in the comments below. But let's go back to 33. So this is the move that I've contemplated a few times, which is Alonso to Cody. And this is if, you know, Lingard's fit and Rafinha's fit and whatever, right? And ideally, I do want to keep Kane for 34 just in case he's back for Sheffield United. So I think by doing Alonso to Cody, it gives me a good fixture this week anyway. Burnley at home. As I said, it's then West Brom away and Brighton at home. Everton away in 37, so it's not that bad. So I could lock that in. That's one transfer made. Then I go into game week 34. Now this leaves me flexible. Obviously, if I do the Son move, and I definitely want Son back, then that's forcing me into a transfer. So any more transfers I make have to be for a hit. And also, I don't know, we might not get info about the blanks and doubles before 33. So do I want to wait till 34, force myself into a transfer and not be flexible? I probably don't, which is why I'm not thinking of doing the Son reversal. Obviously with this, Son and Kane would come straight back into the team if they're fit. Again, I might bench Jota. Cody against West Brom or Dawson against Burnley. I'll just decide that in game week 34. Rudiger will play Fulham. Trent against Man United. You can't bench him. So this leaves me a option to make a transfer this week. Now, if Kane's not fit, I can just take him out. So I've got the transfer to do that anyway. And bearing in mind, if there's a double in 35 and I'm free hitting, then someone like Calvert-Lewin, Villa in 34. In 35, I can choose whether to keep him or not because I've got the free hit. And then in 36, it's Sheffield United at home. That's some pretty good fixtures. And even Wolves at home isn't that bad. So if Kane's injured, I could just do that. If not, the other option is to get rid of Vardy. Now, that sounds crazy, I know, because it's Southampton away, and it would be a bit of a risk. But if you look at the fixtures, Southampton away, again, I could just get Calvert-Lewin instead. And I know, obviously, we're going to have to wait on his fitness. In game week 35, yes, Leicester could be doubling, but it doesn't matter because I could just free hit Vardy straight back in. And then in 36, 37 and 38, it's Man United, Chelsea and Spurs. So the fixtures aren't ideal for Vardy anyway. And I think by 36, he's going to have to be gone. So it leaves me in a position where, look, Kane's injured, I get rid of him. If I decide that I want to plan ahead, I just get rid of Vardy. Or maybe another injury crops up and I want to do something else instead. Maybe I get rid of Rudiger because he might blank in 36. And then also has Leicester and Villa afterwards. Maybe he's the one that I get rid of. But I think Vardy to a forward is the better option. So that's basically why I'm doing what I'm doing. I think Alonso to Cody, if everyone else is fit, is probably my best option. It's not ideal that he plays Spurs away in 36, I know. But with this team, just to quickly show you, this is what it would look like. So let's say in 34, I do the Vardy move. I do see some risk because Southampton are awful and I don't like taking Vardy out. But let's say I do Calvert-Lewin. So I've used both my transfers, Cody and Calvert-Lewin. And then 35, I free hit. And then 36, I'm left with this team. And it actually looks pretty good. So Jota would obviously come in for Iheanacho because Iheanacho would possibly be blanking. Rudiger would blank as well. Dawson comes in. So this is the team without any more transfers. Bearing in mind, I would have one free transfer in game week 36. So I'd have Martinez in goal, Cody against Spurs. But again, I could make a transfer there. Trent against West Brom, Dawson against Brighton, Salah and Jota obviously against West Brom, Son and Kane against Wolves, Calvert-Lewin against Sheffield United, Rafinha versus Burnley and Lingard versus Brighton. Look, it looks okay. I know these things, right? The plans don't even last past one game with injuries, suspensions and all that stuff. But I think it's worth looking ahead because if it does all go right, then you've got a plan there. And obviously I do have one transfer to kind of look at fixing this as well. So that's kind of my plan. I think Alonso to Cody works in Game Week 33, and then in 34 I leave myself open to the Kane move, the Vardy move, or just doing something else and hoping that we have some info about blanks and doubles, and then I can work it from there. So yeah, that's the tinkering. Let me know what you think. So there you go, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Please do give it a like if you've enjoyed it and hit that subscribe button. I know my plans, like, I don't know, people always like the tinkering, so I'm not going to keep apologizing for it, to be honest, but it is one of those tough weeks where you're trying to do something which, you know, to move towards something that's not guaranteed. Taking Vardy out versus Southampton doesn't feel ideal, but I don't want to leave myself in 34 with a forced transfer or nothing to do. Like that feels like a wasted transfer to roll it into 35 and then potentially lose it for the free hit. But hopefully, either before 33 or more likely before 34, we at least, or before the deadlines we just get some info about what the hell is happening with these blanks and doubles, because it would be extremely useful, because right now we're working to what Ben says and he's great, but it is not guaranteed, as I keep saying. But anyway, give it a like, hit subscribe if you're new around here. Patreon, if you haven't already signed up for that, there's a link in the description below if you want to give a little bit of support before the end of the season. It will get paused anyway over the summer, so don't worry, no one's going to be charged over June, when hopefully we'll just be watching the Euros and forgetting about FPL until July. So I'll leave it there. Like I said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, keep supporting. Let's get to 150k subscribers. Tomorrow will be captaincy and deadline stream. Looking forward to it. Let's get this blank game week out of the way and then get to the proper business end of the season. See you soon.